Good morning to everyone who is now watching from wherever you are. Welcome to the ASEAN EU Higher Education Fair 2022. This is the second webinar session for today. I'm here today with the students who will be spending the next 30 minutes to share about their living and studying experiences in diversities as a global citizen. My name is Marta Nova Hartoyo. I'm the regional focal point from EU Policy and Outreach Partnership of EUPOP or EUPOP. I'll be the host for this session, and let me start with our asking our panelists to introduce themselves, starting by mentioning their name, where they originally come from, where they are currently based, and of course, name their education experience. So let's start. Let me give you the floor to two ladies here, and one gentleman. Go ahead, Cho.
Hello, nice to meet you, everyone. And my name is Cho Sinte, and I'm originally from Myanmar. And I'm currently staying in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and working here. And about my education, I graduated in English from Mandalay University, Myanmar. Thank you so much, and nice to meet you.
Thank you, Cho. Over to you, Dwi.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Dwi Fitria Arisandi. I'm from Indonesia. I'm also currently based in Indonesia, working in a private sector, in a horticultural sector. But my study, I'm an alumna of Erasmus Mundus Joint Master's degree, the program called Agricultural Food and Environmental Policy Analysis. And yeah, I'm also the country representative of Erasmus Mundus Association Indonesia. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwi. We'll talk some more about that.
Yeah.
Over to you, Naris.
Hello, everyone. I'm Naris from Thailand, and I'm based in London now. I got a scholarship to study about the human rights and democratization from APMA program, and now I'm continuing my second master in UCL, the University College London, about the global prosperity, international development. Thank you.
Thank you, Naris. Okay, we started the introduction with the ladies. Now we go with the gentleman first. So Naris, tell us a little bit more about this APMA program that you took a couple of years ago. What is it? What did you study? And I know you mentioned currently you are in London studying in UCL. So tell us about that.
Okay, yeah. So it is a pleasure to join the webinar today. The APMA actually stands for the Asia Pacific Master of Art in Human Rights and Democratization. It is a full scholarship sponsored by EU Commission to help. This is a 1-year interdisciplinary program that highlight the inseparable link between the human right and other aspect like the democratization, peace, the development in Asia Pacific, which is a member of the Global Campus of Human Rights. Is a unique network of 100 universities around the world seeking to advance the human right and expand the knowledge for students in both a developed and developing country to learn more about human rights and to find how human rights can relate to other topics in your everyday life. This is very unique program that can help you strengthen your knowledge and develop your career path in the future as well. Yeah.
Thank you. That sounds very intriguing information on this APMA program. Okay,
Yeah.
let me go to, we're going to talk a bit more about that program later, but I'm going to ask Miss Dwi about the scholarship, the Erasmus scholarship. So she went to Europe. So tell us a bit more. I'm not going to spill the beans.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, as I mentioned, so I studied, I graduated from Erasmus Mundus Joint Master's degree, so which is actually Erasmus Plus is a scholarship granted by the European Union government and exclusively awarded to the students, both coming from EU and also the non-EU countries. So basically for the Erasmus Mundus Joint Master's degree, so it's like a program, it's not organized by the European universities under we call it like a consortium. Like when we call like one program, it's a consortium, and it consists of a minimum conducted by the 2 or more universities. So basically, like a student study master either for 1 or 2 years. And they have this mobility program. So for me, for example, I studied my first year in University of Bonn, Germany, and my second year in Université Catholique de Louvain in Belgium, and it's for the joint master's degree. Yeah, thank you.
That sounds awesome. Okay, we're going to find out a bit more. What did you do, or like how did you adapt later on during the program? Okay,
Yeah, sure.
so is it over to you? I think you're the last one, so give it a
Yes.
go.
Yeah, so during my undergraduate years, I was awarded Share Scholarship 2 times. So I'd like to talk about a little about Share Scholarship. And Share stands for the European Support to Higher Education in ASEAN region. So it is a full scholarship funded by the European Union for undergraduate students in ASEAN region, so that they can study 1 semester exchange program in other ASEAN countries or European countries. So for me, I was very lucky and I won Share Scholarship 2 times. So for the first time, I went to Chulalongkorn University in Thailand. And for the second time, I went to Uppsala University in Sweden and studied there as a 1 semester exchange student.
Thank you, Cho. Okay, for first of all, I think the common ground from the three of you is actually you had the experience of studying overseas, not in your own country. All of us have been living in our own country. We have so many different culture, different background. So I think this will be my first question to you. What was your first impression when you arrived to a different country, in a different country? And tell us, like, if you have any unique or experience or any adaptation period, how long did it take for you to get used with the culture, well, with the people around you? I don't know who's going to want to start first. I don't know, just feel free. Maybe Dwi first. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, my first impression, of course, yeah, because when I studied there, it was my first time like visiting Europe as well, and yeah, and I studied first time in Germany, and then like when I arrived, I was like, okay, I heard like I read a lot, I read a lot of more about the German students. Oh, they must be very diligent, and like maybe the competition between the students as well is very hard. And yeah, actually my if I should mention my unique experience, is not unique, but it's more like how I adapt for the first 3 months. I think what I can mention is that I read a lot and more when I when I adapting, because yeah, for me, even though the major is not really like cross discipline, but I think I have to catch up with the studying style of of the students there. And also because when I did my bachelor, I didn't do it in English. Well, I could speak English, like I could read in English, but of course the academic English is very different.
Totally different.
It's
Yeah.
totally different. Yeah. And yeah, what I did a lot in my first 3 months is like I read a lot of journals. So yeah, so reading more is more like the highlights of my adapting time, I guess.
Thank you for sharing that, week.
Thank you.
Naris, how about you?
Yeah, I think for me it's just very like impressive moment in every single moment for me, because when I study in MA program, I'm very interested in the area of like the right to the city, human right, and the urban planning. When I moved to study in London, it is like one of the spotlight city in the world, and it can help me to understand more how the good city and have the good planning should be. when I walk like to every location in London and like the sightseeing, is can help me to learn more about how walkable city is. I can enjoy like every moment by walking, and the public transport is just very easy to access. And yeah, compared to like Bangkok, my hometown, I think in Bangkok have like the traffic congestion, and so to live in London can help me shape my knowledge with the real life experience. So it's a very impressive experience for me. Yeah.
It's giving you a different perspective, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, how about you, Joe? You've been like you are originally from Myanmar and then you studied in Bangkok, and then you fly to Sweden.
That's
So tell us about that.
Yes, actually when I went for exchange studies to these countries, I was only 20 years old because I went there as an like undergraduate student. So I wasn't graduated yet at the time. And like when I went to Thailand, there was like not much culture shock. As you know, like Myanmar and Thailand are like neighboring countries, and we shared a lot of like culture. So it was not like there was not so much culture shock for me there. But when I went to Sweden, there was like a lot of culture shock for me during my first weeks, and I would like to share about that. And like when I went to, although I stay in Thailand for 5 months, when I went to Sweden, I felt like, oh, it was my very first time in abroad, because like Sweden is a very like totally different country in terms of culture, weather, food, and everything. And I went to Sweden like in the beginning of August, so it was the end of summer and the beginning of autumn season. So the daytime is really long in Nordic summer. So it was like 9 p.m., but it stayed bright outside. So I have to rely on the clock every time. I can't live my life like by looking at the sun. So like it is one of the like culture shocks for me. And like people like a lot of people say that like the first weeks or the first month of living in abroad is the honeymoon period. They're just enjoying and exploring. But for me, it was different. It was not honeymoon at all. Like I was really, I had like a lot of culture shock. And one of the like one of the culture shocks I had was I can't see a lot of people in the streets. As you know, like in Southeast Asia, we had a very bright and sunny weather, and people enjoy going out a lot. We are outdoor people. The streets are always crowded and noisy, but it's very different in Sweden. And I also lived in Uppsala, which is a small town, so it was not that much populated, and that is also might be one of the reasons why the streets are like always empty. So I was like, very lonely. In fact, really lonely. But I was a very flexible person, and I could adapt to these like quiet streets, and like I made a lot of friends. And like when I during my first week, I thought like, where have all the people gone? But there were no people in the streets. But later I found out that they just stay indoor, and I made friends with people living in the same corridor with me, and I enjoyed my stay a lot. But there was a culture shock in the first weeks. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I think it was very short period for a culture shock for you as well. So that was good hearing that you are managed to adapt, like adjust yourself. Okay, before we start with another question, I'm just going to let the audience know that if you have any question, feel free to drop your question. And if we have times, then we'll I'm happy to share it with the panelists here. So let's move on. I know you mentioned about the culture shock. What other challenges maybe Naris or Dwi can also share, or what sort of things that they encounter? I know you said earlier, Dwi, that you said you read a lot. Does it like give you a headache maybe, or just give you a better score in your, in your studies, something like that? Just tell us, and how did you encounter those challenges during that period?
Okay, so yeah, I totally agree that we have to read a lot, because I think I read like more than like for the whole of my life when I study here. Yeah, and apart from that, I have to like to adapt themselves with the diversity of the culture with students from around the world, and we have to and the culture of the study in UK, I would say it's like it teach me the way we can access to the information and gather them like to make our the way that we solve this topic. We can believe in our thought, but you have to have like a solid evidence to give to your professor on what on how and why you think like that. And this is very like I think it's very open study culture and focus on the discussion base, because when I the first card that I study in UCL, it's not like teaching class, but you have to prepare everything and read a lot of material for the discussion. It's a very discussion based that you have to discuss with your friend, to ask a question, to ask why the professor give you this literature, and on how to construct your argument to share with your classmate. I think it's just very good experience. Yeah.
Was
But
it
it's yeah.
totally different from what you did
Yeah, in my
when you had
country.
bachelor? Yeah, I suppose
Yeah, yeah.
that was the
It,
case as well.
yeah, I think it's very struggle for the international student during like maybe the first month or the first semester, because when I studied the bachelor degree in my country is Thai, is based on Thai language.
Yeah.
So I don't have like the problem with the language barrier. But when you study here, you have to adapt with more academic English, and have to adapt with several accents from your classmates that you have to put a lot of attempt to understand all of your classmates. And yeah, it's helped me like to learn about the diversities society. Yeah, I think.
Thank you, Naris.
Yeah.
How about you, Badui? Was
Yeah,
it almost the same experience or
yeah,
not?
actually, actually, it's a bit similar with what already Naris told us, that it's more on discussion based. Of course, the lecture, I mean, the professors also like they explain something in the first place, and sometimes as we mentioned before, that the academic thing English is different, and also they have different accents, like not only the students but also the professor. And sometimes maybe when we would like to have a note on something, and we couldn't catch up with what they said, or like we don't really understand because we have to search more afterwards. And for me, I asked my professor, like before the class, for example, like is it possible for me to record your lecture, like if you don't mind? Of course it's with their consent, because I think I would need more, I would need invest more time to understand what you say. So that's one of the ways how I cope with my adaptation time for the first semesters. And I guess that's just to add what Naris told us. Thank you.
Okay, so far, this is what I pick up from Cho is you need to adjust like quickly with the culture. The second one, Naris was saying that we need to invest more time, as well as I think you are mentioning also a similar thing. You have to invest more time to actually listening and also adjusting with the way the people are studying in your like the current country that you studied in. So it was completely different. I mean, not just the culture, but the way we being taught as well. Like because we have been living in the same country and then we move and we have to adjust ourselves. Okay, let's move on. We have another question. We have a question from our audience in YouTube. How is the scholarship process usually like, and what was your experience? Maybe we can answer this, and then after that, I'll move on to the next question, and everyone will get the questions.
Okay, okay. The scholarship process. Actually, for the Erasmus Mundus Joint Master's degree, yeah, you of course you have to prepare the basic requirements. Normally, the basic requirements is the curriculum vitae, and yeah, some of the programs they ask for the Europass version, and you can actually Google it, like the curriculum vitae for Europass version, and you will have the template on the website. And the second one, the second basic requirements would be like the English proficiency test, or IELTS or TOEFL, and also of course your diploma, like yeah, because it's a master scholarship, so diploma of your bachelor. And then the recommendation letter, normally they ask 3 recommendation letter, whether it's from your academic supervisor, a professor, or maybe if you are already working, you can also have your supervisor from your working place as a referee. And yeah, and the last one would be a motivation letter or statement of purpose. So yeah, after you prepare those basic requirements, I think you can also go to the Erasmus plus Erasmus Joint Master's Degree catalog. And in those catalog, you will see a lot of programs, and you can you can see, or you can filter like which discipline or which program that you are interested in. And then if you already filter the programs, you can also find out more in each website, because even though, for example, for me, my background study is agriculture economics, so probably in the catalog there are 2 programs for agricultural economics, but the requirements could be very different. So you have to check each program for the detailed process. So normally the program itself, it's open in October every year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mbak Dwi. Erasmus Plus has a virtual booth, so you are more than welcome to visit the booth and have a chat with the representative there, as well as the alumni from Erasmus. So from 4 o'clock until 6 o'clock Jakarta or Bangkok time. So yeah,
Great.
you have the opportunity to also talk again.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next question. This is very interesting question. Did you all have a chance to learn the language of the country you visit? I suppose, Joe, you have visited 2 countries like within your study period, not in traveling. But how did you have a chance to learn Thai and Swedish?
Yes, when I was in Thailand, I had to take a short language course called Survival Thai Language. And they
Oh,
taught
interesting.
me. Yes, I didn't learn how to write Thai, but I learned how to speak like basic Thai to communicate, to buy food or something like that, very survival language. And like for me, and since I also have the linguistic background, it was not that much difficult, and I could catch very like easily like some basic Thai speaking. But when I moved to Sweden, I didn't get a chance to get the Swedish language course, and I always regret it. I should have taken a Swedish language course. And also like because of because I couldn't take student language course, I also had like the problem in learning because my major was English language and literature. So I also study English linguistics as well. And when I was studying at a Swedish university, when they taught linguistics and language, they give examples from Swedish language. Since I didn't know Swedish language, like there was always difficulty for me. That was the only challenge I had in my like academic.
Thank you, Cho. If you have anyone who is interested to find out more about Share, there will be a session from Share representative, and there will also be a virtual booth. So feel free to have a chat with them. Naris, I understand from the APMA program that you also had a chance to study at Universitas Gadjah Mada, Indonesia, but that was only online, right? Because it was during pandemic. So did you manage to study Indonesia, I suppose?
Yeah, I think like it's like it's have like both positive and some negative impact from the pandemic. Yeah, the negative is like I cannot like go to the Indonesian during that time that I got the scholarship to learn on site, but I think it's like it's just but the good way is it like I can learn I can adapt them I can adapt myself to learn in the new environmental setting on online, and I can keep in touch with all the professor in Indonesia and all of my colleague and my classmate as well. Yeah, and during that time, it's just only like one semester, but I learned a lot from my Indonesian friend who study who share the passion and who have the some knowledge about the human right and other specific topic that they interest as well, and I have to learn like some basic language of Indonesia as well. Yeah.
I think this is one of the benefits studying overseas,
Yeah.
right? You're not just making friends, but you are actually, growing your networks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have another interesting question here. Do you think studying in multicultural setting is a factor that shapes you to be a global citizen? Anyone want to answer? Feel free. Go. Otherwise, I have to choose. No, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I think absolutely agree, because like I think because of like the globalization and the good opportunity for all of us to study abroad, it can help us to think beyond like just only uh it is not like believe in the traditional way of that border can strict us, because now we have like more sense of a global citizen. The problem that occur in one country can affect other country as well, like in
3
terms
minutes
of
left.
like the global warming or the environmental issue or crisis now can affect everyone in the world. That's why it can help us to have more sense of empathy and open for different culture, different attitude, different perspective to live in like the new era. I think, yeah, to be a more a feel of global citizen. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
I think we have 3 minutes to go. So
Yeah.
give us something like, what sort of messages would you like to give to the audience who is now thinking to study overseas, now that after hearing you, they probably would like to find out more about what is available out there, for their opportunities, because we're not just talking for Indonesian, Burmese, Thai people, but then we're actually talking to the Southeast Asian students who is now looking forward to, like enhancing their opportunity. So give us a quick sum up of your experience or messages in the next 30 minutes.
Okay.
Shall we start? Yeah,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead.
Okay, maybe for me, because as the Erasmus Mundus joint master's degree, like the programs are opening in October, so like now it's August, like you have 2 months to prepare the basic requirements that I mentioned before, like for example because for example like motivation letter itself, it's not something that you can finish in one day. It's a growing document, like you will revise it like day by day. So I think you can prepare it from now, and you can ask your friends to proofread, and you can also prepare the other documents like English proficiency test. And I think the closest one, like if you are interested to apply for the Erasmus Plus scholarship, you can prepare it from now.
Prepare documents, that's number one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And look for the catalog.
Naris, over to you. We have 1 minute left.
I think to study abroad is a good decision I have ever made, and I think it will help like shape who you are in the future. So I will thanks so much to the EU Commission who give me a scholarship to study in APMA program. So it is open for all the students, and especially for the ASEAN student or Southeast Asian, you can apply for that. It's open every year, and you can have one semester in Thailand and another semester in the partner university in many country and university that you can choose.
Okay, sorry, Naris, I
Yeah.
have to cut you off. Sorry, Joe.
Yeah.
We don't have any more time. However, the share booth is there, so please feel free to have chat with them. Thank you everyone for being available and sharing your studying and experience. I hope it is worth to share the experience to all of the audience who's going to watch this live in YouTube. Thank you again. I hope everyone have a good day, and don't forget there are like a range of webinar sessions that is available. You just need to log in and click on the schedule for one schedule at a time. Okay, thank you everyone for the opportunity for
you.
sharing. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.